Hello, am I live? It looks like we are. Hello and welcome. I am Man for the Mackem, and this is the Mackem Football Show. It's a short roster tonight. It's just myself and Paul Wilson from RWA. Welcome along, Paul.
Good evening, everybody.
Do you know what would have been really good for us, buddy? We had one person per goal. That would have been nice, and it has happened in the past. But how are we doing? Robin Hood, welcome along, mate. Welcome along. So, first and foremost, there's a couple of things I'd really like to discuss. I think the first thing we should be talking about is that 5-0 win. And I think it will lead us into our transfer deadline day absolute madness that we had for that back end of August. So, yes, 5-0. Initial thoughts, Paul, what are you saying? Well, I say initial thoughts. You've literally slept 5 times since then, so have you reflected? There you go.
To be honest, I did not even expect that.
I wonder what the bookies would have had on the odds for a 5-0 Sunderland win. Imagine if you put 4-0 on and you were like, ooh, I don't think we're getting a fifth. I got to cash out. And it just trickled in last second. The bookies must have hated that for, well, maybe 2 people across the UK. How the Yorkshire, mate, jump on if you were around. He just said the predictions for the Ukraine game tomorrow. Oh, he's changed it. He went from 1-3 to 3-0. I'm liking it. Yeah, so we'll talk about the Sunderland 5-0 win. Nobody expected it. I'm pretty sure we dictated that from minute one. We didn't really do anything beyond slap them silly. we outclassed them. We shook them to their core, and they didn't have any backbone to them in that game. I'm not too sure why that was the case for Southampton, because before that game they were in the playoff zone. They were looking comfortable and they were unbeaten at that point. And to come to the Stadium of Light and to, if we're putting it honestly, it's a bit of a revenge from the last time we played them when we went when we went down. I don't know where that came from. Like, there was no real indication that that kind of performance was on the cards anytime soon for Sunderland. And don't get me wrong, that was absolutely what we need in this moment. And do you think it was literally the best game we've had in the Championship since our return?
Yes. Best game I've actually witnessed at the Stadium of Light.
Ever?
In person as well.
Ever?
Well, that and Everton, but
yeah, fair.
But yeah, the best one in the Championship I've actually witnessed in person.
So, do you think it's a bit of a one-off freak result, or do you think that's something that we could consistently get this year?
That is a good one to actually answer with.
you need time to compose your answer.
Yes.
Fair enough, mate. For me, I think it's going to be unlikely that you're going to have 5-0s pretty much week in, week out. There's only one other team that does it, but it's too infrequent, and that's Stoke City. Stoke City had like 4-0, 5-1, 4-0, 6-0. It's like they could have some of these really freakish domination performance and then just have an absolute run of like 7-8 games of losing all the time. So if it's at the jeopardy of our season tailing off after it, the one-off freak 5-0 win for me is okay, and a really good memory to have for the future. But I think we just got to celebrate it. We've got the added benefit of having an extra week off with the international break as well to bring in the new lads. I don't know how Tony Mowbray is going to manage it. It's a good problem to have of how solid we were in that Southampton game, that now we have to seriously consider how these new lads fit in, because if we're able to perform that solidly against a team that is pretty much odds on for promotion, they've got the depth. Southampton have the depth in their squad, but yeah, how are we going to match that against a team like QPR?
But to be honest, that's what I'm wondering, because like I said to you before we started, and with the rest of the lads that didn't play, how are them actually going to get back into that squad after that? After that performance against Southampton.
Exactly. I think they're going to give them the run for the money. The training sessions, they're going to absolutely have to outclass them. But it is a nice, like I said, it is a nice problem to have. We've got
a bit of a headache for Mowbray.
Yeah, and that's what he's here to do. I'm just glad at the end of the day, like, the reward for how well we've performed so far this season has actually come to fruition, and people are starting to take note of the threat that we can provide. Uploads, welcome along. Yorkshire says, I think we'll win 3-1 against QPR. We'll go into predictions in a bit about QPR, but I just still want to revel a little bit in that Southampton win. It's just, I'm still buzzing about it. I just don't know where it came from. It's just the masterclass that I can't put a fault on any of our players throughout that game. Like, can you pick anybody who had much area to improve on that game?
I kind of.
The only thing I can kind of come up with is like Patterson with that shot that came in halfway in this, like 10 minutes in the second half, where he just parries it and he should have had a firmer grip on it. That's it. That's the only difference I can see from today, like from that day, that could have been better handled. Other than that, I don't think we put a foot wrong. Mad. Can we have that every week, please?
Yeah, because it was even hard to even name a man in the match. Because Bowers and that kept saying to me after the game, who do you think the man that matches for you, Paul? And I was like, I don't know, but straight away I actually said Barry Equa.
Equa, yeah. Equa has the running of it because obviously he was controlling most of it in the centre of the park. I think that's a good shot. And he got 2 goals. I don't know if the first one counts as his or an own goal, but he had the shot outside the box and took the chance. Minute 6, I think that was. And yeah, I think he controlled the game from that minute onwards. And every time the fans shouted shoot, he did. And it's like, you can't complain if he skies it now because you've went shoot. So he's just listening to what we're saying.
Well, to be honest, Bowers actually made me laugh during the game because just before Pareca actually scored,
yeah,
Bowers actually shouted, "Don't shoot."
Oh, he said, "Don't shoot." Hey,
yeah, he did.
The fool.
he scored. I looked at Bowers. He was completely shocked.
To be fair, I think that was kind of our. Do you know, in our first couple of games, we're at game 5 now. I think we can do like a mini review. We're about a 16th of the way through the season. With those first 5 games, I am more positive than I was at the start of the season that we have a good season ahead of us. It does kind of help with the goal difference, the scoring goals with a clear and obvious gap in there. But yeah, like the first 2 games, our problem was we weren't shooting. We were waiting for the perfect chance to shoot, and then it was a little too late in those first 2 matches. But in the Southampton game, every time we had an opportunity to shoot, we did. We rarely had the ball. Southampton dominated possession, but they'd done nothing with it, which, again, we could have done in the first 2 games. But possession football is not the way forward in this league, especially for us. We've got the threat, the speed, and the talent, the literal agility to run rings and spin on the ball, do round the worlds on the ball around their defenders. Like, Rig coming on, Bennett coming on. They didn't need to change the game, but they changed the game and they added more pace to it. And I just thought, like, where's all of this energy come from? Because what was it, like 2 days earlier? Everybody was a little bit like, I can't see us doing anything good this season now. So what was the switch? What do you think the switch was for you, Paul? Like, do you think it was Ross Stewart getting sold? Danny Bath leaving? All of the rumours just being settled? Do you think that had a good positive impact on the team that went out?
Well, to be honest, I've got no idea.
It's just
it could have been because I said to Bowers, I think it could have been an attitude problem.
with who though? Because we've, like I said, we've got a couple of players that left us. I'm just going to pull up on the screen the players that left us. Lyndon Gooch, I don't think he had an attitude problem. Elliot Embleton definitely didn't have an.
I don't think it was them two. I actually think it could have been Stewart.
I think it could have been Bath as well. So I brought it up as kind of a what's it called? A feeling that I was getting that Bath and Ballard didn't like each other. And if Ballard's the younger, more preferred choice by Mowbray, one of them has to go if they didn't like each other. So there's no other reason I can see for why we wanted to get rid of Danny Bath. Like, he was our player of the season, right? Like the fans' player of the season. So yeah, maybe he was a bit negative.
Apparently, Danny Bath left for family reasons.
Yeah, okay. So do you think it's mainly the Ross Stewart, not Bath Ballard relationships?
Yeah, I think that. But what I liked about it as well, I'm not sure if you've seen, but at about, I think it was about 12:30.
Mm-hmm.
Or what was it? Yeah, something like that. Well before kickoff, actually, Sunderland actually the three new lads, not Russian, but the
Russian,
three,
yeah.
they actually got revealed actually on the pitch.
Yeah, at half time. Well, to be fair, we're winning 3-0. I kind of think most people weren't really paying attention to it, to be honest.
No, it wasn't actually at half time. Sunderland decided to bring them out before kickoff.
Mm-hmm. Oh, was it? I just saw the post. The post like match photographs on Twitter. Really, I didn't really see much of it because the coverage on Sky didn't really want to show the pitch. They wanted to show you the build up and stuff like that. So,
I'm surprised with that, but yeah, that they came out, actually walked around the pitch and stopped clapping the supporters.
Didn't they do that last year? Well, I say last year in the January transfer window with Ekwa, Lahadji, Diallo, and somebody else. They did it with a couple of people. Last year as well. Mishu was there. Was that
time against Rotherham?
That was it. So it seems to be like a go-to thing. This is what what the fans are about. Do you want to be a part of that? That's essentially what I think that was. We kind of need to do that when we're in a good position, because if there's like a little bit of rumblings and frustration at half time or at the start of the game, then maybe they don't want to do something. So I still want to harp on about who I think man in the match could go to, because like I said, there was just everybody on the pitch just played absolutely class. Clark was in for running, but that Clark level of consistency is just still top tier every game. So he's going to be man in the match for every game. So let's spread it around a bit. Pierre Ekwa with the 2 shots, 2 goals, just absolute professional on the pitch. Like that was amazing. Another good shout for me is potentially Luke O'Nien at the back. I know that's not an often one shouted about, but if you don't concede, for me, that's doing your job defensively. Like, I don't think the defensive line, Sirkin, who's Sirkin? Ballard, O'Nien, and who's it? Hume.
Yeah, Hume.
Yeah, so all of those people at the back just did their job, and I think that's unsung a little bit, but they were just like, nothing was like, every time Southampton had the ball a lot, but every time they got in the final third, it just looked like it was just getting shut down. Like there was nothing coming into the box and nothing was going to provide a threat or that much of a threat for Patterson. So I'm just pleased with everybody, and I think man of the match. Didn't Clark actually win it on the day?
Yeah, he got it off Sky, I think.
Yeah. But for me, I'm actually just going to give it to Ekwa as well. It's an interesting one. Like I'd much rather. It should just be like if you look at the EFL Championship Team of the Week, we had like 5 players in the Team of the Week. It's just that much of a masterclass from Sunderland, and obviously Mowbray got Manager of the Week as well. So I'm just buzzing, and I think we should enjoy it for what it is. We'll talk about transfers now. Cabby, welcome along. Welcome along. Last season we did new signs at half time. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we did last weekend. So Yorkshire saying we did the same with the walkout of the players to the fans. Transfers. Elliot Ekwa man in the match all day for uploads. Perfect. So we have a youth model in our recruitment now, right? Which is probably one of the reasons why Bath went, Ross Stewart went. We've got 2 players on our record books that are above the age of 30. Can you name them? This is to you, Paul. Can you name our 2 players? 2 players in our entire squad above the age of 30.
I'm gonna say one of them is Dak.
Nope, he's 29.
Also, I was close.
You were close with him. He's in his 20s. There's 2 players, just 2. Nobody cheating in the chat. If you get one of them, I'll give you the other one. I'll just say a short Viking, and that might give you one. Who does Dak normally come off for?
Oh, Pritchard.
So Pritchard is the second oldest at 30 years old, and our oldest player is Corey Evans at 33. It's actually mad. We've literally got 2 other players that are above the age of 25, Luke O'Neill and Patrick Roberts. This Russian lad is our 6th oldest player at 24. That's actually insane. Like the majority of our first team players we've got 4 teenagers, and everybody else is between the age of 20 and 23. It makes us the youngest squad in the championship. Pritchard! Everybody's screaming it out now, mate. You need up your player knowledge. But yeah, I think the transfer deadlines or the transfer window as a whole is something I find really quite fascinating because, like I said, a little bit before, 2 days before the Southampton game, there was just like a doom and gloom atmosphere. If you looked on YouTube at the thumbnails of like other content creators, it was like, what's going on with the club? Why is this wrong? What on earth is happening? And then like on transfer deadline day, we I think it was 4 in, 4 out, right? So out was Gooch and Embleton, which was done really respectfully. Danny Bath left to Norwich City, which was kind of a bit like, you said it was family reasons and stuff like that, but it was kind of okay. It was a bit of a what do you call it? It's a bit of a PR piece that came out. And then Ross Stewart to Southampton. That to me was probably the most poorly managed transfer contract we've ever had. Like, it's just an absolute PR nightmare for Ross Stewart and his agent, whoever they are. That we've had contract nonsense with Ross Stewart for months, and I'm kind of glad he's gone now, to be honest. None of that drama's there. There's none of that. Sign him, get him in, like get his contract extended. If you think he's good, bring it. Like that to me might have just brought down the morale of the entire team. So I'm kind of glad we've got big money for him for Southampton, and I think that result 5-0 against the team he's went to was a perfect the perfect send off from us to him. This is what you're missing out on. You should have signed your contract, but he didn't, and that allowed the doors to be open for the likes of Mason Burstow from Chelsea, Russian from Zoroya Luhansk, if I can say that Ukrainian name nice and easy. Timothy Pembele from PSG and Adlin Auchi from Lorient. I think they're really good signings, are really good prospect signings to grow with us. And with the exception of Auchi and Pembele having very limited English, from what I can see, I'm kind of rating how well we can potentially do with these. 3 of them are strikers, or attacking forwards, should we say, and the other one's an extra option at the back, right?
No, we've got 4 strikers.
So from literally none to 4, and we forget because he hasn't really played any minutes in our first 5 games. But Mayenta is a striker, and Mason Mado is a striker. Like, if we give these 4 players if they've got to compete with each other in the training sessions, there's options for Mowbray to choose from game in, game out, which there was never any of that in there. I'm kind of like concerned that none of them are going to start, because the way the teams performed in these first 5 games, I can't say without any confidence or rationale, like, why would Mowbray change away from that other than to switch it up? Like, if it's to switch it up for switching it up sake, then yeah, bring in one of those strikers. But the system we have in place now is working. What's your thoughts, Paul? What's your thoughts?
But do you not think, like, if we we come up, I don't know, but like, say that we come up with a certain team, and Mowbray is looking for a striker to play in that role.
Mm-hmm.
Do you not think he'll toss, I don't know, but like, say Mason into that role once he's
maybe
once he gets up to speed?
To be fair, I think Mason's going to get thrown into the hat first out of the 4 of them. To be brutally honest, it's kind of the logical choice for me. He's come from Chelsea and he wants to play. He hasn't come in with any injuries. He hasn't come in with any niggles. He just wants to. He wants to hit the ground running. Whereas I think Mia was like that when he came in for the pre-seasons, but I think there's a little bit of confidence that needs to be built up with him. So maybe put 2 of them on. Put a striking partnership up there. That'd be good. Upload says Stuart is a snake. York's Mackem is in Corfu. Having a cheeky little holiday. Rosie's popped into the chat as well. Welcome along, Rosie. And Uploads has now asked me for the QPR prediction. So we have been talking about these new lads coming in and how they could potentially change the game for us. What are you thinking QPR wise? I know it's a while off, but like I said, Mowbray has a lot of time in the training sessions to work out how these players work, right, and how they'll fit into his system. So, what's your prediction? And do you think there's going to be any changes to the starting lineup? So, Paul?
Well, since I've actually gone to this game,
yeah, you're the lucky charm.
Hopefully it actually works.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to go 2-1 Sunderland, because I've got a feeling, because QPR has got a former Sunderland player
in
Jack Colback.
Oh yeah, no. That's a rat, mate. He's not a Sunderland player, not a former Sunderland player. He's a rat.
You know what former players of ours is like.
Well, to be fair, mate, with Jack Colback, didn't QPR have ex-Geordie Andy Carroll in their squad last year? Or was that Reading? It was Reading.
Yeah, that was Reading.
I've just made myself look stupid. Oh yeah, former Geordies. I think he's more of a former Geordie than he is a former Mackem. Yeah, he came through our youth ranks, but he's always said he was a Geordie, and he left us for them. So, yeah, he's a Geordie, mate. He's not. He's not a Mackem. I don't care. He's a Mackem. He's not a Mackem. He's a Geordie now, mate. So, call back. I think we can. I would love. Oh, mate. I don't know why, but could you imagine? Callback on the floor with Luke 09 stood over him, exactly like mirroring Lee Cattermole. We need some other moment where we just like have him on the floor crying like a little female dog. I'd love that, and then somebody Photoshop callback on the floor with Cattermole and 09 just staring down. I'm like, you idiot. That would be class.
So I think there'll be changes. I think Mobile might make one change and bring Patrick Roberts back. If he's available, that is.
That is a good point. Do you know, I actually rate how well Bar played for us in that Southampton game. I think he's earned his spot in the first team squad. Yeah, Roberts is like more experienced and a more logical choice, but I think Bar's earned his spot now. Do you not think?
Yeah, I think he has, but
you think if Roberts is fit, Bar's dropping out?
Yeah, I think Bar would be probably. I think he'd be on the bench.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna prediction wise. Rosie says Sunderland 4-0. After saying Southampton were going to beat Sunderland 2-0 before the game, which I was happily wrong about, I'm actually going to back Sunderland away from home now because I think the confidence factor is there again. So maybe I want to go 3-0. A 3-0. Saying that, I would take a cheeky 1-0, but like 3 clean sheets for me is more important. So if it happens to be a 0-0, fine. But Mackem Cabby in the chat saying 2-0 QPR. No, not having it, mate. Not having it.
That means we're going to win.
He's either like doom and gloom and it's right or wrong, and then otherwise it's like it's a flip of a coin, isn't it?
Ainsworth is like so.
Yeah. That's a good point. Gareth Ainsworth, as a manager, has had a very poor record coming up against Sunderland. I don't think he knows how to deal with our fan base in any of his clubs that he's played against us at. So maybe there's a little bit of that. Doesn't really bode well for him. Oh, that's funny.
No, but non-Ainsworth, he probably would have watched our previous games. Yeah, he probably would have sent a scout to watch our previous games, or himself might have came up.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, just to revert back, alt ending, welcome along, buddy. Hello. He says he thought Paddy was a teacher's pet, so he'd imagine that he would instantly take the place of Abdullah Bar if he is back fit. So that does make sense. Mr. Roberts should slot straight back into the team if he's fully fit. If he's not fully fit, I think there's a good little excuse for Mowbray to say we'll keep Bar on, but if you're feeling more ready for it, we'll bring you off the bench in the 70th minute or something like that to change the mood of the game if required. Yeah. Like 3-1 Sunderland from Jacob. Uploads is saying 2-0 to Sunderland, and they turned Borough over. Yeah, but Borough right now, they've scored 3 goals in 11, -8, 1 point in 5 games. Borough are the easiest team right now to to beat. QPR, if you look, sorry, I've just got on the visuals, you've got the table here, and QPR are massively below par, but They did win the last game. I don't know. I think they're there for the taking ultimately. What do you reckon? Yeah, and
Yeah,
yes. Sorry.
yeah, I think so. The thing is, Bowers actually asked me the other day.
Yeah.
When we come to play Middlesbrough, do you actually think Michael Carrick will still be there?
I'm surprised he's still there now. So, Mackem, welcome along, and reiterating everybody's turning Borough over. I actually think if a manager loses 5 games on the bounce, they're not good enough. They've not got the backing. Yeah, the squad might not be there, but 5 games on the bounce, their career at that institution should be up for review. The fact that he's still there and they've got 2 weeks off, if he comes back after he has had the perfect excuse right now, right, Mr. Carrick. He's they use too much energy. They've lost Akpom. They're not really sure how their new squad fits and where they're going to get the goals from. We get that. That's a really good excuse, but you can only use excuses for so long. And the 12 is it 12 days between their 2 games, or is it 13? The 13 days between their 2 games and gives them the perfect opportunity to refine what they need to do to find out the best way. And if they don't win their next match, I think he could be gone, because he's had every excuse, every reasonable excuse to fix things up. So to answer your question, Paul, no. If he loses his next game, I can't see him surviving. I can't see him surviving beyond the end of September.
Yeah, that's why I actually said to Bowers, actually.
Yeah. It just makes sense to me. Like, we were, sorry, I say we, not me and you, but on the Sunderland Twitter bubble, should we say, when we lost our first 2 opening games, that was essentially 4 losses in a row, or 4 games without a win in a row, should I say. And the next game, people were saying, if he doesn't win it, we need to get rid of him. And like I said, I understand that mentality, but it's not 4 league games. It's not 5 league games. 5 league games is completely different to a friendly and a cup game that nobody cares about. The league games is what matters, and he's not performing for them. If you're underperforming, especially in a high what do you call it? A high salary, performance based sport, you need to go. Just need to go. Facts. Akpom and Archer for so Mackem says, so how much Borough shows how much Borough are missing Archer and Akpom. We could have been the same if we're being like brutally honest about it. If we were that desperate for Ross Stewart to come back and be fit to provide us the goals, we could have lost. We have lost them in this window, but we could have been desperate for them. The fact that we've rejigged our model to be more midfield focused and creative on the wings just proves how much quality is in our youth model. So yeah, remember the chant. I don't upload, and if it's not safe, please don't type it. Yeah, a third clean sheet for me would be ideal, so I'm going to say a 3-0 on that one. And Alt, thank you for putting in some XG. QPR have the 3rd lowest XG, and Sunderland have the 2nd lowest XG against, so they're predicting a clean sheet incoming, which means we'll get beat. so Alt's on the same wavelength as Cabby there. On paper, if football was played on paper, I think we'd pretty much slap everybody now, which is ridiculous considering how young our squad is. But on paper, that 5 goals in one game helps a lot. I don't know. QPR are there for the taking. If we don't, you're just a small
I remember that, John.
Yeah.
I used to sing that all the time when every time I went to a away game actually with Sean.
Yeah.
We used to drive past Middlesbrough, and we actually opened the window
I'm just
and actually started shouting that.
I'm just going to quickly open up our fixtures, right? Because I know a couple of them have jiggled around since the start of September for like Sky Sports coverage. So I'm just going to open up the fixtures, and can you tell me of any of these games, are you absolutely terrified by any of these squads? The answer to me is pretty much no. I think the only team I think we'd struggle against in this league right now is actually Leicester. Anybody else, I think we should be pretty much beating. Where is it? Fixtures. That would be the one. So this month we have QPR away, then in the midweek Blackburn away, then the following Sunday Cardiff City at home, and then the following Friday Sheffield Wednesday away on Sky. So I think we've got 2 games on Sky this month: the Sunderland Cardiff game and the Sheffield Wednesday game. Well, I say 3 now because we've already had the Southampton one. So, any of those teams scaring you?
No.
What QPR are what, 17th? Blackburn Rovers are where? 13th. Cardiff City. I can't even see them on this bloody list. Are Cardiff City just above Swansea? Sheffield Wednesday. I can't even. Is Cardiff City higher up than I think they are? Sheffield Wednesday 23rd. Yeah, that one I think we should absolutely piss. To be honest, we might concede a cheeky 1 goal, but as long as we score more than them, we'll be fine. Cardiff City, the only team that we're playing this month that are in the top half of the table.
I'm just laughing at the direct message I've just got from Bowers.
Go on, what was that? Can you share?
It was actually when Southampton actually announced to Ross Stewart. And Southampton put, yeah, worth the wait. And Bowers just put to me there, worth the wait for Sunderland 0, Sunderland 1, Ross Stewart own goal in March.
I mean, Cardiff 19th. There you go, yeah. Thank you, Mula. Every team that we're playing against, mate, are in the bottom half of the table. I know it's only five games in, but we shouldn't be threatening against any of them. Yeah, you sound like Brian's gun now. Who's that? I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is, Alt. Sorry. Yeah. I'm pretty chuffed. I think we've got a good September ahead of us. It's our next game I'm kind of nervous about is the Watford one, then the Leicester one. But yeah.
It's all because the Watford game's been moved to the Wednesday.
Goodbye. Have a good night, uploads. Yeah, I don't mind that, mate. Like, if we're on TV now, that makes my watch along streams that a little bit easier. So I don't mind it now. Last year I hated it because it was a nightmare, but now it's all web based. It's a lot better. So yeah, I'm chuffed. How do you want to surmise this past week and a half? Is it past week and a half in a couple of sentences, Paul?
I'm actually pleased the way the actual window went, mate. Like, because there was actually a couple of bits. Nick Barnes actually did question Christian Speakman on, which was about the reports that came out last season that the club was looking at another head coach to replace Tony Mowbray.
Oh. Yes, I don't. Like I said, if he continued his losing streak, I think that would have been a justified thing for them to proactively look at. Now I think it's just a list. I think it's a list on a spreadsheet. Really, those might change.
Speakman actually told. Well, Nick Barnes asked about the tweet that went out.
Mm-hmm.
Speakman said, we won't deny it if we're looking for a new head coach. They won't even say anything about Tony Mowbray's future.
Okay.
The only way we'll find out if he's going is, if the club comes out and says, "Oh, he's gone." That's the only way we'll find out what's happening.
Yeah, I think we should be respectful and wait for those official posts and releases from the likes of Speakman, from the media team, from tweets, and from the news part of the website. I'm on board with that. What I really think the club needs to do is be a bit more clear, because we could have had a much more positive outlook at that transfer window when we're going into the final day if the club just said we're looking at, this is our intentions, this is the gaps we're looking to fulfill in this window. The window, once the window's closed, then evaluate us. That kind of just simmer down, put the lid back on top of the boiling pan. It felt like they were just allowing people to boil, I guess. And it was it just felt like a weird scrappy last 48 hours of that window that could have been completely avoided. Loads of people would just, I think, very short fused that they hadn't seen any progress. So to Yorkshire's point, Christian Speakman seemed honest in his recent interview. Yes, I agree. He looked like he was honest, but he looked like he was holding a lot of things back as well. And yeah, communication from the club and the directors to the fan base should be a more regular public thing. I think that would be.
Yeah, because what I liked about it, Speakman came out and said that, well, he told Nick Barnes that nobody at the club actually wanted Ross Stewart to actually go.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's want and need, I guess. The wanting him to go is, if he didn't want him to go, that's absolutely fine. But if he needed to go to do the best thing for the club, which I think it will be, to be honest, Ross Stewart now leaving the club it appears like after game one, the right thing for the club. If we're being honest, I know it's not ideal. He is a quality player when he's fully fit and match ready, and he's a solid man to come up against. So we could have definitely benefit from his services again. But he's gone now. We can't really dwell on him. It would have been nice to keep him along. Welcome along, Acacia. Sorry, you said this earlier, and it made me think of this Twitter account. So speaking of Twitter accounts, I've refreshed mine, and what is it? I'm just showing it. It is at Mackem, and pretty much all of my posts, whenever a Geordie comments on my screen, on my channel, I'll just respond to them with whatever stupid insult they try to back on it. So it's quite funny if you want to just laugh at some Geordies that are reaching out to some content creators. Feel free to follow me on that. Yes. How do I wrap up what's happened in the last week and a half, mate, in a couple of sentences? Because I can ramble for a very long time about it. It was a bit of a minefield, but through it, we've got through the finish line, and it looks like it's all sunshine and rainbows going forward. And long may that feeling continue. The minefield side of it, I don't want to go through that again. We will go through it again because it's just the nature of football. But let's just enjoy the big open fields and positivity for the next coming week and a bit. I appreciate it, Ald. Appreciate it. Legend. Yeah, so I'm absolutely buzzing. I'm loving the positive vibes that the club's giving out now. And I think it's just when you get emotional about an individual game or an individual poorly performing at a game, by all means sound it off, but just put a little bit of thought behind it. Like, what does this actually achieve? So the more people that are negative, the more likely you're likely to become negative. So just stay positive, enjoy the football, keep the faith, and well, lads. Well, lads. I've got. Do you know our phrase from last season? My little chant. At least we're not Wigan.
Oh yeah.
I think we need to change that to at least we're not Borough.
At least we're not Borough.
At least we're not Borough. At least we're not Borough. And on that note, thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. I'll catch you on the England watch along. Are you coming along for the England watch along, or are you doing something else for that?
I'm not sure actually. I'll be out somewhere, but
yeah,
I'll be catching up on before.
Fair enough. I'll be doing a watch along tomorrow, 5 o'clock for the England watch along game. So catch you on the channel, bit away from Sunderland. See how that goes. Catch you in a bit. Bye.
Bye.